quantum computing itself is going to have that same, people are calling it the ChatGPT moment. So in the next 10 years, there's going to be a ChatGPT moment for quantum computing. And for me, I got into the ecosystem back in 2018, 2019. And through that journey, as we were working with organizations building quantum algorithms, got an initial amount of funding from the US Air Force to think about the flip side of quantum computing. So, not the quantum algorithms themselves, but what sufficiently powerful quantum computers will be able to do in the future. And one of those things that now I think most people have heard about this is at scale, quantum computers will be able to break the encryption that we use to keep all of our digital communications secure. And so fast forward to today, that was the birth of my company Qsecure. We don't do anything quantum. And that's one of the first things that is important for people to understand. You do not need a quantum computer to fight a quantum computer. You just need algorithms that we know are secure against that kind of quantum attack. We work with government, highly regulated organizations, banks, telcos, insurance, oil and gas, critical infrastructure. And what they are doing is they're going through this migration to quantum secure infrastructures, which is now government mandated. And we lead the charge in facilitating that migration. Big question is, why do they care today? And that comes down to this idea that everyone knows we're going towards that quantum computer. We're going to have that ChatGPT moment. And because we all know that we're going to get to that point, what bad actors are doing today is what's called harvest now, decrypt later. Stockpiling data as it travels over networks for later decryption. And so that's what the catalyst is for what we do. We migrate organizations and government to these quantum safe infrastructures. And so they don't have to worry about if their customers' online or banking information or health records or national security secrets are now being stockpiled so they can be unzipped and decrypted. Government agencies now have this mandated migration timeline. We're going to see in the coming months these timelines get pushed up and up and up and start to filter out to private organizations. So private organizations are going to get on this more and more aggressive timeline. So it's really just becoming a compliance thing. So if you're a bank, if you're a telco, if you're mid-size, large size, if you have a secret that you're protecting, you should be looking at this. Now, a lot of people get confused and lost in the migration, in part because there's the word quantum and it sounds like this big undertaking. And it can be if you do things in the same way that we've done encryption migrations in the past. But that's really what we're here talking about today is this migration to quantum safe infrastructure. Is the bigger story here is that it's a catalyst for managing these encryption migrations in a way where you can push a button and migrate to a more secure encryption or encryption library. And that is what we do. So we go into organizations, we allow them to, in a week, let's say, get an enterprise-wide handle on the encryption that lives in their network. Then we can very quickly use that information to migrate to post-quantum. There is a new mandate that says there can be no new acquisitions into federal government, into national security after 2026 that do not support post-quantum. So that's a big deadline, and that's a big deadline for a lot of these vendors, networking solutions, and otherwise. If you want to continue to sell new products into the government, into national security, then you do have to support post-quantum cryptography. So we work with organizations like that to get them post-quantum ready and their products post-quantum ready as well. When it comes to cybersecurity, there's so much on CISO's plates, on now board member plates, because cyber has really risen to the board level in recent years. And so it can feel like noise, especially when you pull in these terms like quantum. And the thing that's so important to understand about quantum is, unlike getting ahead of deep fakes or some of these AI threats, the quantum threat is real. Harvest now, decrypt later is very real, and it's a solved problem. And so the biggest issue, what you should be afraid of, actually is getting stuck in the let's talk about this, let's strategize about this, let's do housekeeping around this. That's the biggest danger, because you're going to end up spending a lot more money, a lot more time, and ultimately losing a lot more data. And so should people be concerned? Absolutely. It's very actively a threat. But the most important thing is you shouldn't worry, you should act. And you can act, and there is a fix.